We're back down at Knight Family Motorsport for another day on the dyno. This is our mate Wazza's VK Commodore, which is powered by a iron block 6-litre LS, fed by an S485 and backed by a Powerglide. All of this fabrication and assembly has been done by our mate Ryan from RK Garage, and it presents quite well. It's a pretty clean car, pretty well done. Kind of an ex-show car thing, maybe I suppose you'd call it. Cream interior. Ryan's done a lot of nice little touches. We've got a Haltech IC7, got a shifter in there, these nice Sparko seats. And yeah, we're bolting it up to the hub dyno. So this hub dyno, someone actually commented before was asking how it works. So this actually has a 9-inch in it. And I'll come over this side and we'll say hi to the man himself.
G'day guys, what's going on?
Hey Kye, how you going?
Oh, not too bad.
So this is how we work on the, oh, that's a nice blister on your wrist there, mate.
Yeah, she's a doozy, eh?
Changing some spark plugs or something.
It was, yeah.
So we've got some extenders here that bolt onto the hubs, and then this here goes into, what do you call that, the actual hub?
Well, it's the power absorption unit. So yeah, you got a big spline here, big bearing that supports it, and then that drives, inside that is like a hydrostatic drive essentially. So it uses hydraulic oil to create load.
Yep.
And then that's cooled by water. It's got a water cooling heat exchanger inside it. Yeah, so.
Don't forget to turn that one on.
Yeah, don't forget to turn the water on.
That's like a big CV joint too in there, is that right? Is that to cover this?
Yeah, the whole head flexes. It's got, it can, you know, go up, down, left, right. Yeah.
There you go. All right, so that answers that question. We're good there. We always come down to dyno days, and it's kind of normal for some car guys, but it's always really exciting. And the owner of the car, Wazza, can't be here today, so I said, hey, how about I document it for you? So, Wazza, here we go. We're on the dyno, and we're about to, I suppose, bolt the hubs up, and Kye can start working his magic. We've got Ryan here. Oh, give me some of that soda stream. That looks good. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm fantastic.
That's the way.
Any issues with this thing since we last came around?
No, we got all the little bits and pieces sorted.
Sweet.
Yeah, keen to see what it does.
Wicked. So it should produce some pretty stout numbers. It is just a kind of a standard engine configuration with, you just got a cam in there, is that right? That's just a cam package?
Yeah, crow cam package, head studs, all that sort of stuff.
Still stock bottom end though, isn't it?
Yeah, stock bottom end.
Yeah. So no doubt this should still see some 600-ish, 700. Wow, we should ask the dyno operator first. What's?
We sort of said to Waz, we'll probably, for what it is, we'll probably pull it up somewhere in the mid 6s to 700-ish. It should do it pretty easily, and that'll be a good level for him to get used to and make some laps on and all that sort of stuff.
Awesome, yeah. Perfect cruiser car, this thing.
Yeah.
Nice and comfy. And
we don't want it too much more than that crown.
Oh, I didn't even realise it's got a roll cage. Sick.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Wait, what'd you smack talk the crown, what'd you say?
So we don't want it too much faster than that crown will.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe we can tee up a race, Wazza. So just a couple of things with this LS combo I'd like to point out. First thing is the alternator. The alternator usually sits down over this side, and this is a relocation kit from someone, I don't know, but it's got some billet brackets and stuff, so that gets the alternator up high here, out of the way of turbos and things. The other thing is cable throttle. Now this is being controlled by a Haltech Elite 950, which doesn't have the capabilities of e-throttle. So this is using a Plazaman, I think this is like 102mm or something, cable throttle. We've got Plazzy clamps throughout too, which are great clamps to use in a performance application. And due to being cable throttle, idle control then becomes a bit of an issue. So it's actually got this down here, I believe it's a Siltec valve, so it's like a Ford idle speed control motor, which is then plumbed into the intake behind the throttle. So that's something that's pretty cool. It's a little 2-wire sensor. It doesn't take up many drivers and stuff, and it's a great way to control the idle speed. As I said to Klopfy, Ryan from RK Garage has done all the fabrication. So I've got a catch can, all the stainless piping, all the exhaust work, engine mounts, intercooler piping, everything's been done by Ryan. So Ryan received this as basically a bare shell. So pretty cool combination, and it turned out really well. So hats off to Ryan. I'll link his Instagram in the description if you want to check him out.
I'd check him out.
You check him out? You have anything else to add with this combo, mate?
Not particularly. It's I guess it's a 1650cc injector, E85. Fairly sort of typical street car, really, for
Sweet.
what we see around here. Yeah, no, I think it should be a good thing. It should be a really good, enjoyable cruiser.
Right, you good to go then?
Yeah, we're about to start getting into it.
Sweet. All right, we'll shut down the door and turn the whirlwind of a fan on.
Alright, so what he was mentioning, the idle speed control, and one thing I'll say with these, so this has got the 2-wire Siltec valve on it, which is a great little thing. It's actually really, really good way to get idle control on a smaller capacity engine. I would say like sub 3 litres or something like that works really well. On this, which is a 6 litre, it's a much bigger engine. What I actually find is that they're possibly a little bit too small to just effectively provide enough air, even when the valve is fully open 100%. We've already set the warm idle on this, where we're trying to get at warm idle the valves close all the way down to maybe 20% or something like that. But even with it, so it's 20% closed to do warm idle, when it's cold, even 100% open is still not really enough to provide the amount of extra airflow the engine would want. Just something to keep in mind. I do know that the line size on this valve is probably a touch on the small side, so that'll obviously be limiting how much air can actually bypass through that circuit. But yeah, just something to keep in mind, that yeah, those 2-wire idle valves, excellent on small capacity engines, they're all you need. On these bigger capacity engines, you still can sometimes run into issue. Obviously, if you do have the ECU that can run drive-by-wire, I'd go with that. Sweet. See, this got a 7-pound spring in it.
Hey?
7-pound spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Sweet. I might see what it does, a little bit of boost. That's the gate pressure trace there. It's the green line.
Yeah.
It's only making like 4.5 and then it's dropping to 3. So we might throw a little bit more spring in it. Sometimes you'll get that depending on how good your priority is. The boost could be above or below the spring.
I didn't bring them.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
I might have some stuff here. Alright, so we've managed to make a couple power runs. We started off on wastegate spring. It's got a, this is fairly typical of this. It's got a 7-pound spring in there, but it's only making like 3 to 4 pounds of boost on a 7-pound spring, which is not uncommon. It's probably because we got really good wastegate priority. Woody knows all about that. And so what we're seeing is that sometimes the issue with that is that you'll run out of boost controller before you get to your target power level. But as with all things, there's no set in stone rule. So when we started to turn the boost controller on, it actually does look like we're going to have fairly good resolution in it. So yeah, we started out, made a couple hits on wastegate, then we've gone up, just done a couple pulls on 8 pounds, getting the boost controller tracking target really nicely. Car's making really good power, like what it should be essentially for the fuel burn and everything. So everything's looking good there. I just had the question to Ryan of what plug are we running, because where we're going to go from here is where we start to then, we're starting to make a decent amount of power. There's temperatures in the cylinder get higher and all the rest of it. It did still have a stock plug in the engine, so we're going to move away from that. We're going to go to 7 heat range with a non-projected tip. I find that that's definitely the plug you want to be running in a combination like this, especially where we're heading. And so yeah, we've done that. We've also set it up for coolant pressure measurement now that we've let the engine fully heat soak and it's sort of stabilised, you know what I mean? So I like to get any airlocks out, do all that sort of stuff, run at a very low power level. Now we'll set it up for coolant pressure measurement. Stock head castings on LS engines are prone for flexing and that sort of stuff. So one of the key things that you'll see before you actually hurt something is you might see a little bit of coolant pressure coming up in the cooling system, which would indicate that something's flexing, moving around, otherwise not happy. But otherwise, yeah, so we're going to do that. Going to throw a set of plugs in it, and then we'll keep on going. But so far, it's looking really good. I think it'll fairly easily do our target today. So.
Sweet, nice. Do you get the apprentice to put those plugs in, Clopsy?
Yeah, mate.
Right, put the wrong ones in there.
Put them in there.
And someone put a bloody dump pipe in the way on this side.
I heard that was Woody's side.
Is this mine on this side? No, it shouldn't be that bad. It's not. Is it still hot or not?
Pretty sweet.
That's alright.
Should be right.
Yeah, cool. And what are these plugs looking like, Kye, too, so far?
I haven't actually had a look at them yet.
Oh, that's very hot. Ouch.
But yeah, that's a stock plug. But yeah, what are we looking? Firing mark looks not too bad. I don't know if I've got any heat in them at the moment, but that's good. We're running at a fairly low power level. But yeah, these have a really big gap on them. Factory, they're designed for getting groceries and stuff like that. So
fairly low power figure. It's 580 horsepower. Oh, weed myself out of that one there, didn't I? Oh, I just had to bail out for 5 minutes.
Alrighty, so we've put the coolant pressure trace on the car, we've gone through. We did notice something slightly concerning is that the coolant pressure was coming up with RPM, which is not uncommon. There's certain, especially with a mechanical water pump, a lot of the time you'll have a restriction through the core and you'll see that come up. What we're concerned about is if it's coming up with boost pressure. That's where we don't want to see. So we have done a handful of runs at just a couple of different boost pressures. For more or less, it's very consistent. So I think it may be just what we're seeing is more so just a function of the mechanical water pump and this particular radiator. It's still slightly higher than I would expect on. I measure this on like every single one of these cars I do. This is definitely numbers are a little higher than I would expect. But having said that, it's consistent. It's not pushing. Doesn't seem to be getting any worse or doing anything. So we're confident to go through and we'll see what happens and see if it gets any worse. Obviously, if it does, we'll pull up. But hopefully, fingers crossed. It's this is just a function of the actual cooling system in this particular car.
Sweet. Do you see that with like a dual pass radiator sometimes too, or?
Yeah, I mean, any of them, a lot of the time we do see a natural swing of pressure with RPM. It's just the amount of swing on this one is probably the bit that's a little out of it.
Can't make more power because I just see the smirk on your face go.
658.
This is a public service announcement coming to you live from the Commodore factory. I'm going to be at Rocky Nats on Easter long weekend in Rockhampton. I'm taking the Crown Wagon there. Wazza is taking the VK2, which is a good one, and I've got a bunch of other mates taking their cars too. So get your ass to Rocky Easter long weekends. It's an awesome event. Off-street drags, burnouts, show cars, show pavilion, trader hall, everything's going on. We love that event. We've been going for a few years now, and this year is shaping up to be bigger and better than ever. Whole local car scene comes out. There's an awesome four-wheel drive show on there too, so come on, get up there. If you see me there in the Crown Wagon, give me a wave. I've got 7 seats and I'll give you a lift. So see you there, Rocky Easter long weekend. Not a bad combo there, Kye. 600 and what was it, 70s on?
Yeah, 673 there. Yeah, that's at 13 pounds of boost. We're bringing the torque in nice and gentle for stock heads and rods and pistons and all the rest of it. So yeah, no, I think that's honestly a pretty good number. I'm sure we could push it a bit further. It is showing, because we did touch on earlier in the day that the wastegate spring's very light in this thing, we are starting to look like we're sort of outrunning the boost control. You know what I mean? We're sort of at a maxed out. It's not going to make a heap more than that. I feel like maybe you'd make 14 if you're lucky. But honestly, that's still perfect. That's enough for this combination. We sort of said mid 600, 700 this morning. We're really bang on there. The coolant pressure did not get any worse as we were turning the boost up. So that's great. Like I said, I'm going to put that down to that must be just an inherent design of this particular dual pass radiator and everything we're seeing there. So yeah, that's good, but yeah, always pays to check it. We're about to pull some plugs out of it and see how everything's looking. But otherwise, I think we're pretty well done. Otherwise, it's yeah, we'll go out, we'll test it on the street, make sure it drives like a car and does that sort of stuff. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's success.
I saw you fiddling before with some cylinder trims with timing, I think it was. Is that
timing and fuel. Yeah,
this stock manifold too, or all?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the manifolds. From what I've seen, typically the rear cylinders will run a little hotter. When you pull the plugs, they'll always show a little bit hotter. So typically run a little bit extra fuel in those cylinders, a little bit less timing in those cylinders, just so that it's everything's doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah. The one thing I will say, which is a little trade-off in this one, is just the fact that because we are wasted spark coils, Haltech does have the ability to trim individual timing, but it's just one of those things that obviously the opposing pair in its exhaust stroke will also have its timing affected. So, but yeah, anyway, like I said, the Haltech's smart enough to handle that. So that's
due to just being a 950 though, not a...
Yeah, it's just the car has a 950 on it. It's a basic hand-me-down ECU, so to speak. So yeah, we have little bits and pieces there, but luckily we do have 8 injector drivers, so we can trim fuel individually to each cylinder, just with the timing. We still can trim the timing to each cylinder, but it does it on the opposing splits. So yeah, just like I said, that's sort of the wizardry behind the scenes of the firmware. So
you're the wizardry behind the keyboard acting on that.
But yeah, no, otherwise, yeah, happy with how it's all working. Everything seems good. So yeah, we'll check a plug or two, and then yeah, I think we'll go confirm it on the road.
That's going to wrap up another dyno day here down at Knight Family Motorsport. Shout out to Kye, the man. Thanks for letting me come and film this, dude. And also shout out to our mate Wazza for letting me come film the car. This is done pretty well for what it is. Stock bottom end, 6-litre LS with a big turbo.
You can go more than this as well. Like, we've gone beyond this before, but at the same time, the more higher you turn them up, the more likely you're gonna, it's like you race this like this for years. And
there's gonna be
fuel and plugs in it occasionally. It lasts forever.
There you go.
And even still at that power, like that'd still be enough to that'll push this thing into a 9-second pass.
That's like a junkyard spec. It's just change your oil, change your spark plugs.
Oil filter and plugs, and the thing will run 9s every day.
Yeah, there you go.
What is up?
So once this gets out on the track, I'll be sure to hit up Wazza and jump in the car or throw some GoPros in there. So it's pretty cool car and really cool to see some LS content. We haven't really done much LS stuff, so cool to get something on the dyno. Thanks again everyone for watching the show and supporting the show by buying merch or liking, subscribing, sharing the videos. New venture, and I think I'm doing alright so far with the video, so keep it up, keep watching, share it to your mates. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. Oh, that sun in my eyes.
You gotta leave
Squinting.
that in. Back you on the bloopers.
I didn't give you a shout out, sorry, Clopfy. Is that alright?
Oh, that's fine, mate.
Oh, it's alright? Nah, don't worry about it. RK Garage, link in the description. How good's the colour on the dump pipe and stuff now, eh?
Yeah, it's starting to turn nice.
And then you said you go to a track and it goes to,
Yeah, if you track those, turn to shit.
yeah,
Start
straight
rusting.
That was good.
back to yours for a shed skid.
Why not?
One of the best things about dyno days is the lunch runs. Usually you get a souvlaki, but there's no souvlaki today, Kye.
They know. I think they shut the kitchen. They look like they were keen to start their Chrissy celebration.
I was keen on a souvlaki, but settled for a chicken schnitzel instead.